Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We are broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by Extreme Exteriors. And before we talk about this inflammatory story about Bank of America being alleged in a rental scam, I'd like to let our listeners know of a great offer that is being made this year through the Community Associations Institute. CAI is a great organization. If you have just recently begun ownership in a homeowner association, wonder what's involved in being a homeowner, what's an association, what are the responsibility of the board of directors, someone's asked you to be on the board, you know what? All of those questions can be answered through the free membership that's being offered by CAI. All this year, they are offering what is called the Marge Peterson Memorial Scholarship. And each month, right here on Where You Live, we get the opportunity to offer one free membership to someone, to this organization. So if you're thinking of being on the board or on the board and you want to know how you can effectively do your duty and your role of being a board of director more effectively, join CAI. All you have to do is give us a call during the week. Our number is 952-224-2668. That's the hotline. Leave your name, your number, address, the association where you live, the email address, the contact information so that we can pass that on to CAI, and the first caller in the month of December will receive that membership. So
what a great gift.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, I guess.
It really is.
It is pretty cool, I guess.
It is pretty cool. But let's get back to this, what's happening in Las Vegas. Tony, for our listeners, kind of recap the Cole family.
Sure.
What's going on
Well,
here?
they were having trouble making their mortgage payment. They tried to work with loan modification with Bank of America. Bank of America, like many banks in our country, overwhelmed with the foreclosure process or just because of negligence, maybe, didn't respond or it didn't work out. Loan modification did not work out. Short sale did not work out. And the Cole family were frustrated. They were afraid they were going to come home with their two kids one day and find a big lock on the door. They didn't want that to happen, so they chose to abandon the home.
Yeah.
A con artist, realtor, drilled out the locks of the home and rented it to another family and started collecting the rent. Now this story from Channel 13 Action News in Las Vegas, Nevada, is trying to implicate Bank of America in the rental scam. And what they're doing is throwing all kinds of things in the pot and blaming the biggest dog in the pack, which is Bank of America.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And the question that it makes me want to ask is why would you blame someone else for someone else's crime?
Exactly.
The con artist here
sense.
is this realtor who is knowingly deceiving everyone for his own financial gain. And just because that happens, you say that, Bank of America, you're a bigger dog, so you should.
It's your fault.
It's your fault.
We should mention that this realtor has been arrested. So he's being criminally charged. That's good.
Yep.
But the Cole family feels that it's not their responsibility to take care of the house anymore.
This is what I wanted us to address a little bit, because it says here in the story that when they found out all of this had happened, it says that they were caught in something. It says they never saw coming. They weren't.
I can believe that.
I can believe you're right.
No one would expect this to happen. That a stranger would break into your home and rent it out to another family.
Well, let's talk about home ownership a little bit and what that means. When you sign on the dotted line and you've purchased something that is in most cases probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in value.
It's the most valuable thing you own.
Yes, it is. So here you don't have the money. You may have a small amount for the down payment, but then you're asking someone else to give that money.
Sure.
so that you can live, and you say, I'm going to agree to pay you back a little bit
Sure.
each month over a number of years,
Sure.
and then we'll be done. At the end of the result, the bank gets a little bit more money in interest, but that was what they get for being able to give you that money all
Sure.
at once.
And that's what the homeowner agreed to.
Yes, exactly. And that's the point. That's what the homeowner agreed to. That was the agreement. There is no other agreement. There's no other agreement that says, well, if you change your mind, you can take it back. You can't do that. It's not the same.
Or if I change my mind, or if I can't meet my obligation, I can abandon the home at will. That's not part of your agreement.
Yeah. And if you do, the agreement you signed says that you're the one that's in default, and this bank that loaned you hundreds of thousands of dollars has a right to say, hey, wait a minute, where's that money? Where are we going to get that? And they're going to press it.
You know, that's one part of the issue, is how they got into this trouble in the first place. But truly, I don't think that's what this story is about. This story is about what is happening now that they have abandoned this home. What's happening now that they have erroneously or in error abandoned this home, to hold the bank responsible now for something the bank is probably not even aware of, because the bank doesn't own the home. The bank can't do anything about these squatters. The bank can't do anything about the criminal who did this, because the bank doesn't own the home.
Exactly.
The bank can't go to eviction court and kick the renters out. The bank doesn't own the home. And you don't want them to have the power to do that, because then they could do it whenever they felt like it.
That's part of the agreement. That's what you agreed to when you signed the mortgage. And you can't just say, well, we washed our hands. We're all done.
That's
it just doesn't work that way.
That's
and
right.
Here the family says that they feel victimized. They feel victimized because, and they said, well, we had no idea what's going on, because they chose, and that's the operative word here, they chose to be oblivious about the consequences
of abandoning the home.
Yeah.
I got to keep saying that. They are the ones that left the opportunity open for a con artist to step in, and they're trying to say it's Bank of America's fault. It is not.
What would you do? What does an insurance company say when you leave your keys in your car
with the doors unlocked,
unlocked, and it running, full of groceries, with money sitting on the seat, and you walk away from the car, and
your car gets stolen. Right.
There
you go.
You're not without responsibility.
There you go.
Too.
I think the lesson to be learned here is, if you are facing foreclosure, if you are struggling with your bank, do not make assumptions like this. It was very ill-advised, very naive, and dare I say immature of the Cole family to just walk away from this home. They could have still been living in this home. You can live in the home in the state of Minnesota for 6 months after the bank has foreclosed and held the sheriff's sale. So why not do that?
Yes. Now, if you, a bank may not do this now, but I know that years ago, before we got into this big, huge mess, it was not uncommon. And I remember being a realtor now for 20-some years, that there would be someone who bought a home only to find out that they couldn't continue to make the payments. But what they did, instead of making the bank go through the process of foreclosure, because that takes more time and it takes more money, and that means more money that they can come back after you on.
Sure.
There were homeowners who gave what was called a deed in lieu of foreclosure.
That's right.
Because the deed, or the actual ownership of the property, is yours. You have that. You have ownership of the property. And the bank in foreclosure is trying to get the deed back so that they have proof of ownership.
By proving that you defaulted.
So, yes, you don't walk away like the Cole family did. You talk to the bank. If you say you can't make the payment anymore and you want to stop it, then you need to get a deed in lieu of foreclosure.
So they could have made that choice. They could have said, bank, here's the house back. Let's take the legal steps to make that legally the bank's house again.
Yes, we'll forego making you go through this legal thing.
They could have chosen to go through the whole foreclosure process and then leave the home once the redemption period has ended, because technically they own the home until the redemption period ends. I want to say one more thing about that, though.
Yes.
You do own the home until the redemption period ends, but I have learned that your insurance company is not going to look at that the same way. Once the sheriff's sale occurs, the insurance company, at least ones I've heard of, are going to say, hey, wait a minute. We are no longer going to insure this home as yours because it's in foreclosure. So you need to call your insurance agent as well.
Well, even if people own their home and they have no issues like that going on at all, people don't realize that most home insurance policies have a provision in there that says that if you have vacated the home more than 30 days in one given period, the insurance is invalid. So if you are going on a cruise, on a 3-month cruise,
oh, interesting, sure,
or you're going,
you better let them know.
You're going overseas to Europe for a couple months to visit family on an extended vacation. You need to notify your insurance company because you could be in violation of the insurance policy. And you could be
invalidating it, exactly.
Exactly.
Even I want to make the point that even if you are still in the home, once that sheriff's sale occurs, you better call your agent because you may need to get some different form of insurance. I've heard of some homeowners who have stayed in their home. They had to get renter's insurance because they could no longer insure the property based on their mortgage situation. So they had to insure their personal belongings.
Yeah. And folks, this is good to know. I remember this when my father became ill before he passed away about 6 years ago. There was a period of time where he was ill and was in the hospital. Now he was finally at a place where he was in the hospital more than 30
then he was
days.
home?
Yeah,
Okay.
then he was home. And so we had to contact the insurance company
Good
to
know.
find that there was more money involved, but you could get the insurance to take care of that situation.
We should all be clamoring for better homeowner education. We should not be blaming the banks for something that's not their fault. We should not be, you know what I mean,
and
trying to make it someone else's responsibility. We need to educate ourselves.
That's exactly right. If you're going to take the responsibility of ownership on, whether it be of a car, of a home, whatever it is, you need to know what is involved.
Yeah.
And because you're going to be responsible now.
Yeah. Well, I'm fed up to hear with Channel 13 in Nevada and their
investigative reporting.
Investigative reporting that it's also maliciously wrong.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, folks, we got to take another break. When we come back, one last segment to go. We're going to talk about a disgruntled homeowner who's using his website, and it's causing quite a controversy. More after these messages.